Okay, so interestingly enough, after making my actor clown explanation videos, um, it's been a while since I made the video, but actually immediately after that day, I've been meaning to make a new video on it, but my phone was full and I needed to like go through it and delete certain things. But I was out shopping. This is about 2 days after I made the other video, the first time I'm going out in public. And I explained in my last video my actor clown theory. Well, while I was out shopping, I noticed an actor clown was actually the actor clown. The guy that kind of turned me on to this subject of like people kind of playing roles and stuff like that. Kind of the guy, he was a friend of mine about 8 years ago where I was living right around the time I had the breakdown and started realizing all this. This was one of the guys that kind of explained to me directly and indirectly, because he was himself an actor clown, I believe. And he was trying to get me aware to waking up, to become more self-aware about myself, that he was being very over the top and bombastic to sort of prove the point that this actually exists. And you have to go back to my last video to understand what the actor clown thing is. But so I'm at the shop. So the guy used to live in my building. I considered him a great friend, and towards the end of our friendship, I started going crazy when I started picking up on these things that he was explaining. Not only him, but like myself picking up on these things in life when I started testing out things that this friend was sort of teaching me. So the actor clowns are also teachers. Not all, like, you know how not every lesson, even the bad ones, is a good one because you learn from it. In that sort of situation, in that sort of way, this guy was a good friend, and the funny thing is that he actually watches these videos. Perhaps. I know he subscribed at one point long ago when I first made a YouTube about my music. Well, I don't know if he's still following this, but over the last few years, we ended our friendship in kind of a strange way. I started noticing that he was losing his mind while I was sort of losing my mind, so we kind of separated naturally. But in the end, I actually think, was he losing his mind to kind of show me I was losing my mind, and it was all an act? Because it felt like it. I would see him in the street, and he would have his pants down, basically exposing himself to the street, and coming up and crying, and randomly, right on time, when I would turn the corner, he'd be right there. After I had been thinking about him, and I kept saying, "Hey, look, 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 look! He's coming on right on time." I even wrote a song right on time that was about this. And it got to the point where it was silly, and that's why I couldn't talk to him anymore, because it just seemed so staged and fake, and I was like, what the hell is going on in this world, in my world, where I was breaking this matrix, and all of a sudden, now the people in my world were all there placed, acting this act to kind of teach me how to be, to make me see myself, basically, like in a mirror form. Well, I made a video about the actor clowns, and I go out a couple days later to the shop, and who do I see? I see either him or a guy that is made to look like him and placed there to be me and to get my attention. He had aged in a way that he should have for like 8 years. And like I said, I have run into him, or who I thought was him, in the last 8 years that I have seen that we had broken off. And he'd be out of place and getting my attention from a distance to make me kind of think about him. Whenever I was either thinking about him in public, thinking about him in my own mind and stuff, then like the next day I would see him. Well, this happened right on time, right on cue, just like how it is. And so I was at the store and I was like, oh my, and I even told Tracy, like, yeah, like, look who it is. And she laughed and stuff because it was so funny. If it wasn't him, it was a guy that looked like just like him. But the point is that even if it wasn't him, it was him in the spirit of what I've been talking about, to even prove myself even more that, something's going on. A lot of people think it's gang stalking. They call this kind of stuff gang stalking, and it gets really scary. And I thought that that's kind of what this was for a while, where I was too scared to go into places and such, and like to go out in public. But now I'm learning a lot about empaths. I knew what they were, but I'm learning the details about empaths. Been watching videos lately since I've been starting to make these videos, and I'm really realizing that there's different sorts of empaths. And I'm realizing that I am an empath, and that's what a part of this is that in a very, very, very basic sense, because I don't want to go into it in this video. It's a separate video. But that, like, I feel the telepathy and stuff, the voices, is actually me being highly sensitive to others and hearing their thoughts through that way. So it's actually a thing. It's a combination of telepathy, which falls under empaths, which is also maybe schizophrenia. It's a lot of things kind of all wrapped into one. But I'm going to go and dive and explain what empaths is from what I've learned in my situations. And explain what that is and how there's different sorts of ones and what it means. But that's a different video. To finish this up about the actor clowns, well, I made a video about actor clowns, and what did I run into? The actor clown. I don't mean that in a derogatory way that he's a clown, but you know what I mean, because if you listen to my last video, that it's not about, it's just because they just seem so out of place and like they're wearing a costume. It's like they're an actor, but at the same time, it's such a goofy phenomenon that I call it the clown. So that's why I call that. But it's not like I'm making fun of this man or anything if he's watching this, because I know that he at one point, we exchanged YouTubes a long time ago. And yeah, so it's been a long time. I hope he's doing better than what he was last time I see him. I seen him in handcuffs in my old building. Like the power went out and I was out in the streets, and then I come home and he's in the lobby getting arrested. It was just crazy. And he was looking at me and the cops were looking at me. And that day I probably had been doing something. I knew I was doing something I shouldn't have been. And it almost went down a very, very, very bad decision that day. But it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, so I ended up going home. And in that way, that was the actor clown showing me, like, look, you're gonna get arrested if, that's what that was what that lesson the actor clown teaches. And that's what his lesson was to me that day. And that's just a whole nother thing. I can go into stories if there's interests of that, where it relates to this type of philosophy that I've been exploring and making up and sharing since I've been making these new videos. So I see the actor clown after making the video of the actor clown. That's exactly what the actor clown is. And it was intense, and it was just proving my point even more. And it took me a minute to get the video going. I should have made it when it was fresh. It's been about a week. But so it's kind of like a part 2 to the last video of the art of the actor clown. It was wearing like there was like a mustache on him, almost like a disguised mustache, but it seemed like it was him if it wasn't him. And like I said, I've seen this character many times in my life since we've separated. And I would always think in my mind, oh, there he is. He's following me. He's right on time. Because right when we were kind of in close vicinity, living in the same building, he'd always pop up, just like I said, with him getting arrested. And then I just saw him going down, and I don't know if it was for him to like, if it was real. Well, I'm really sorry, and because I saw him, screaming and exposing himself to the street, and then I saw him on the sidewalk, sitting on the ground, and it was like he was losing it. But at the same time, it was almost like too coincidental to be fucking true. But yeah, that was just a part of my life and something that happened. But this is my experience with the actor clown since making the video, and haven't been going out much in public lately. Just because I haven't had the need to really, but I should, and I can maybe start showing and pointing out examples of just the different topics and stuff that I've been talking about with telepathy, actor clowns, messages, conspiracies, but more of like personal kind of introspective breakdowns of messages and universal type of connections, and just verbalizing it, because it's always just been in my head, and I've talked to a few people in my life, and some people get it, a little bit of it, but nobody's really fully get it. They just probably think I'm crazy, but that's okay too. But yep, thank you very much.